Hi guys, Doge here with a new video, and this video is a few tips I'm going to give to you guys that are still leveling, obviously, because I think there still is no level 60. Um, I'm going to give you a few tips that you can do while you're leveling. First and foremost, let's cut it short. If you're doing like me and you are doing mining, skinning, you should at the moment the skinned leather that you have vendor it because it will give you a lot of silvers, a lot of gold. Like currently I have 72 silvers because it is purely uh, because of the skinning. And I even bought my wand, so greater magic wand for level 13, so I don't need to go to the auction house again. That's very big. And also everything you're going to mine is something that you need to put in the bank, because currently copper ore, especially copper ore, if you're going for copper ore, it is not expensive. It's only like 15 cents per copper ore, and it is really nothing. So if you are, for example, mining to make money or to go for engineering or whatever, do not vendor it, do not put it on the auction house, because it is cheap, especially right now. Like I'm on a PvP server. It will be the same for hardcore. It will be also the same for the PvE server. Do not sell your copper ore, do not sell like even your tin. Everything you have, keep it, because it will be augmented with time. As long as people are like still leveling, doing their mining and skinning, they will not spend anything on the auction house to level their engineering, to level their blacksmithing, to level whatever they're going to do in the future at level 60. Some people are very smart though. If you're leveling as engineering or if you're leveling as alchemist, you should actually buy right now, whenever you can, the amount of copper ores, the amount of peace bloom, the amount of like silver leaf, swift thistle, whatever you are going to use to level up your alchemy, to level up your engineering, even your blacksmithing. Now is actually the time to buy all kinds of materials that are needed to level up. So if you're like leveling with a profession guide, from websites or whatnot, like for example Wowhead or other websites, you could level your professions really quickly right now. If it's first aid, if it's like your engineering, your blacksmithing, your leatherworking, or even your alchemy, or whatever you're going to do, like tailoring, it is the moment to be able to grind that profession very fast. Obviously, if you're like me, you're going for the raw silver, and skinning is the better one to do. Like, I think leather, like light leather, or like everything you're going to have is worth close to nothing. Like, for example, if I look up light leather, it's only 24 silver per unit price, which is actually very good. It's because everyone is selling their light leather, so there is not a lot of offer on the auction house. But if you are like looking to make money, either just like vendor it directly because you need space in your bags, or you go directly on the auction house and you put your leather there. But I'm going to say it takes a long while to sell it, because nobody's really buying light leather at the start, because nobody's really playing with leatherwork. Some do, but most are not really leveling as leather worker. They're leveling as either engineering or alchemy, and even then, they're still leveling as mining, skinning, or herb skinning, or herb mining. But I think the best combination is mining and skinning, because at the start levels, especially with Moreau, you have a lot of like mining nodes that you can actually use to level up your mining quite quick. For example, on my warrior, I'm already at 50. That's without like using the smelting. So I have a lot of copper ore at the bank. So I'm going to show you. That is something that I'm going to keep. So once I'm going to level my mining, I'm going to like take it out, do my smelting, and then I can go on my journey to get better ores, which are going to be more expensive or more needed for my engineering. So I currently have 45, and that's without spending any kind of money. I also say, like, if you're a priest, or like especially a priest, you should buy your wands. For example, this one I bought it for 17 silver at the time, but I think now it's a bit cheaper. It's vendors literally for 15 silver, so it is no harm to buy it, and you will be able to sell it once it's out of date, pretty much, if you're like out leveling the greater magic wand and you're looking into buying a upgrade, you can always sell that whenever you can, and it will be still relevant. So that's a good thing. You could also, again, a few tips. You can buy the leveling quest items for very cheap. I'm going to show you. Again, everything you can spend should be spent with the thought process of, like, again, you have to buy your skills, you can buy your mount at level 40, but some things are just cheap. For example, bear meat. So for example, I'm going to take this out because it's very annoying. For example, bear meat. So we have bear meat. It is quite cheap, 15 silvers, literally. So what you could do is also with the add-on, like type bear meat, and you'll find it, and you can just press, boom, 7 stacks of 1, you can buy it till you have 3. So you have 45 copper for literally no grinding anymore. Some people may like the grinding, but it's very hard at like some places, like for example Loch Modan, you are actually fighting for the boars, you are fighting for the bears, and you're fighting for the spiders. So being able to buy it off and then go directly on Loch Modan and like give out the quest is a huge chunk of XP that is direct, although you're losing the quest mob killing XP. It still is going to be more efficient than actually looking for those mobs once they are like not available, because there are a lot of people that leveling at the same time. So you could do that the same for Westfall, you could do the same for Dark Shore, you could do the same for every single place where you actually need quest mob items that are like interchangeable or tradable, which is a good thing. You can do that as well. Now another tip I'm going to give is for the healers. Like, I am a priest. Now it's very specific though. Priests do go 5 points into wand, but that's it. Then they go for shadow. That's how I will do. So I will go for spirit tab. Although at the start it's not really good because you don't have a lot of spirit, but I'm going for spirit tab because I'm not going to every single time have to respec, and then I'm going to go even further with shadow focus, with improved shadow ward pain, which are like the things that I'm going to use all the time while leveling. Because again, I'm going to do shadow ward pain into wand, and it's going to probably eliminate the mob quite fast, and that's good. But if you are a healer, for example, you want to play Resto Druid, or you want to play Holy Paladin, or you want to play Resto Shaman, I don't recommend leveling as a healer. You should for sure still play Feral Combat, for example, as a Druid. You should still play Retribution Paladin or whatever as a Paladin, because again, you can still heal even though you're a DPS. Also for dungeons, don't be shy. Like if you are missing a healer and you are a hybrid, you should be able to say, look, I'm going to heal. It doesn't really need too much gear, it just needs you to be mindful with your spells. You have multiple ranks of spells, so if you don't see your rank of spells, you can do show all ranks spells. So that's going to show you the amount of ranks you have with every single spell, and for some it is actually very good. For example, we have Lesser Heal, which is 75 mana for 136 minimum healing, and the first one is 47 healing for 30 mana and for a very quick fast heal. So I'm going to give you this example, but it works for every single healer. If I'm like healing and he doesn't take too much damage, I can just like do lesser heals and it's not going to cost too much mana. And if I feel like, okay, there is a big hit, I can always use a lesser heal and I'm going to be able to heal him. But obviously try to not spam heals, because then you have your mana per 5 that is going to hit, for example right now, which is going to be able to take some mana and back, so you can actually again heal efficiently without losing on the mana game. Again, in dungeons, how do you die? It's because you're too bold, so you're taking too much aggro from too many mobs, which is fine if you have the mana. But you also lose because you don't have the mana, or you're not not intelligent, but you're not aware of the spells and multiple ranks of spells. So you could always be able to heal and not expend too much healing whenever it's not needed, and whenever you are needing to heal that much, you will not have the mana for it. So be aware. Again, a little tip for priests: I cannot, like, if I'm playing with a warrior that is tanking, I generally speaking don't really press shield, because he will not get any rage from getting hit. So if there are like 3 mobs on the warrior, and he is trying to build rage. I'm actually not pressing shield because then the amount of mobs that are going to hit the warrior is going to generate that said rage to be able to hold the aggro. If you're doing the powerful shield at the start, he will not be able to get the aggro necessary to be able to tank. So that's a few tips I'm going to give. This, again, I'm not like an expert priest, but that I know because I do play warrior, so I'm very annoyed whenever I get a power shield. I try to say, look, I prefer you to use renew or whatever spell you're going to cast to actually heal myself. It's also a very, very effective, health effective spell. Renew is 45 damage over time for 15 seconds, while Power Shield is only 48, and costing this like more mana and also preventing rage, which is not that great. But it's also very great to have, like Power Shield. Again, if you really need a heal right now, when you do a powered shield, he's going to hit you, but you can still do a lesser heal without getting interrupted, because it is literally written as this. While the shield holds, the spell casting will not be interrupted by damage. So if you're like on a prince and you're able to do 2 spells, powered shield into heal is like the most likely to get you to survive the damage. Obviously, rank 1 shield is not going to be great at level 11, but you will get other ranks as you will level. For example, at level 12, I will get powered shield, an upgrade of it, which is going to be 88 damage, which is literally at least more than 1/4 of my health. It will be closer to 1/3 of my health, so it's going to be effective and also be giving me the time needed to be able to heal myself. So that's a few tips. Again, if you're like doing hardcore or whatever, that is also a good tip for them. Power shield into heal is the more effective way to heal than a lesser heal from the get-go, because then you will get interrupted, and maybe getting critted, or maybe executed, because some mobs are executing you. Power shield kind of prevents that, so do play around that as well. That's a few tips for the priest and for the healing section, I would say. Now, another tip is that you should not hesitate to respec. Some leveling talents are good or great at the start, but becomes obsolete while you're actually leveling and while you're actually trying to get to certain thresholds. For example, druids are actually very good levelers if you're starting as balance, because bear form, you don't really get a lot of upgrades from 10 to 20. So you're starting as a balanced druid. You're getting like the wrath talents, and maybe also the entangling roots whenever you're going to get nature's grasp. So whenever you're getting hit, you can have entangling roots. You could then spam wraths, which is still very effective at lower levels, and then go bear form whenever you can. But it's like starting the match the combat every single time that you're going to bear form is going to be less effective. So you're going to work your way into Armor of Clarity. That's very good, but at one point, at level 20, you get cat form, and you get also access to a talent which is giving you movement speed. So you want to respec to feral to be able to then have the movement speed, so you can actually just blast from that get-go. For example, priest as well. You can level priest with 1 specialization from level 10 to 40, but I would say, or at least that's how I will do, is that I will be respecing at shadow once I have level 40, so we will have shadow form, which is giving me 15% more damage on shadow damage, but also 15% reduced physical damage done. But you're going to say, but Togre, you're going to miss out the 1 specialization, which is true. I'm going to miss out 25% damage, but at one point, I cannot show you now because there is no auction house wands at the moment. At that level, but at one point you will have some shadow wands that are very easy to acquire through quest, through dungeons, or through auction house, which is going to be amplified because it's shadow damage by your shadow form. So you will not lose any damage except like 10% of 1 damage, but you will be accessing Mind Flay, you will be accessing more damage on your Mind Blast, your Shadow Pain is also going to deal more damage, and as a whole you will be able to do way more damage than you would be able to do with your Discipline Priest spec. Again, you can still stay as a 1 specialization priest until level 45 or whatever, because you will still have both. But I'd really like from level 40 to level 45 at least to be already shadow priest, so you could also do more damage. And you have many examples like this. For example, at early level it's better to be fury warrior no matter what, because impale has no value, which is a crit talent that is going to be it's a crit damage talent, which is very good whenever you get more crits, but you don't have crits at the start. Like you'll have only maybe 10% crit at max, which is not that great, and you will not have a lot of value on the wounds as well. So at the start you go fury, you will get more crit, you will be having more utility talents and more AP, like attack power with your battlecry, for example. And at one point you're going to go arms at level 40 once you have more strike, and then you're going to see another world open up to you. And I can say for every single class, even for rogue it's a bit different. I think combat is still the best one. For paladin it's also a bit different, because I do believe retribution paladin is the way to go. But you have many like classes that actually gets opened up with a bit more talent points. You can even level as an enhancement shaman until level 40, and then go to elemental mastery once you're like going for elemental shaman, and at that point it opens up again a new world to you. So do not hesitate on respecing. Dual spec is still not live. Trying to also get the mount at level 40 is also very important, and that's why the first few tips I give out in the video will help you to get that mount very quickly by going skinning, by keeping that mining a bit closer to your heart, and then once it gets like a bigger price, because it will happen, inflation will happen at one point, then you will sell your ores, and it will be easier to have that amount of threshold needed to get your mounts or to get your gear or to get whatever. Another tip, very quickly, try to buy gear as well. If you're like a priest like me, don't bother with enchanting. Some people are going to level as enchanters. You will have your lesser magic wand, you will have your greater magic wand, you will get every single time an upgrade. So do try to go to your auction house if you feel like you need an upgrade to be able to level faster. Sometimes the silver you're going to spend or the gold that you're going to spend is going to be worth it, especially as a warrior. If you don't have a blue, you can be able to buy a blue for 1 gold, which is a bargain. You should do so, for example. So again, those are the tips. Again, thank you for watching this video, really appreciate you. Hopefully those tips are going to help you. I know it's a lot of me talking, but I try to give you some examples. But at the end, I just hope you guys are going to enjoy Classic a lot. So I leveled my warrior a bit. Now I'm leveling a bit my priest. I'm going to jointly like level them together, because I try to take my time anyways, because there is no MC. But also I'm trying to keep it fresh for myself and have fun. The warrior kept it like being very slow, because it's very slow levels. At level 16, level 17 is quite slow. Now I'm level 11 with my priest, and once I will be level 16, I can just swap to warrior, do some dead mines, then swap back to priest, do some dead mines, and do like this, some joint leveling. Again, thank you for watching. Have a great day. Bye.